speaker is online, and if we lose audio, she has no way of recreating it. So let us continue. Apologize for the delay, the technical difficulties. So Pathways is representing Ms. Sipe in this matter. So, for the record, introduce yourself.
My name is Jeff Goodrich with Pathways Consulting.
And do we have a written authorization from Nicole?
You did get a. Yeah, email somewhere though.
I guess an email will do.
My recollection is she.
Right, yes, yeah,
Okay,
I think you should elevate him.
I think so too. Bill, would you be elevated for this and be a full voting member?
Yes.
Okay,
Tim.
Tim.
Yeah. I have will be a subcontractor for Pathways Consulting in a couple of weeks, and I feel like I probably should recuse myself from the discussion.
Recusal is voluntary if you feel that's necessary. I thank you for making this known, and I invite you to sit in the audience. Okay, we still have,
a quorum,
we have 5 people. That is still a quorum.
we just have to make the comment about we're not a full board, to have a right to be a full board.
I think Dan has made it.
Okay. It's up to you whether or not you want to go forward with the hearing.
So we only have.
Because
We
only
have 5
5
people
members.
as opposed to 7.
From my perspective, this is pretty straightforward, so absolutely.
Okay.
But we're the brightest and the best, so you lucked out, Jeff. So go ahead and present the plan.
Well, I've been accused of talking too fast and not explaining enough, so, I'm gonna slow down and say, this is a reclaimed gravel pit. So there's a whole bunch of sand and gravel out here. And when Nicole came to us and said, hey, golly, what should we do? We actually engaged Caitlin Banasek to do wetland evaluations along the perennial stream on the west side of essentially the gravel pit. And we shot up the shot. We did surveying for topography. If you go to sheet 2, Rob, it'll show the existing conditions.
Okay, hold on a second.
So that sheet basically, if you blow it up a little bit. Anyway, so what we tried to do is say, where are the wetlands? There's a perennial stream that runs west of the gravel pit. And we did do a bunch of topography in the gravel pit itself. The rest of the contours on this plan come from New Hampshire granite as LiDAR to show relatively where everything is. And with Nicole's input, our goal was to create lots of 5 acres or more, so we don't have to deal with the state of New Hampshire subdivision. And everything that we shot is here. We initially talked to Rob about or coordinated about possibly a 10-lot subdivision, but there's an unknown lot north on the north end of the parcel. And when I say unknown lot, there are boundaries that are not known. And so we said, Nicole said, let's back up and do basically 8 lots plus the remainder. And so that's what we're presenting tonight. That's on sheet 2. It shows all the existing detail as far as contours, wetlands, existing conditions. And then sheet 1 is essentially the plat showing the proposed 9 lots. So we're proposing 8 5-acre lots, more or less, with a remainder as lot 9 to keep it relatively simple. And our understanding is going forward, we have to get driveway permits and then get water wastewater permits for each of the lots going forward. So,
And 911 addresses. That'll be the whole.
by the way, I have little knowledge of the reclamation process. You'd have to speak to that, but when I went out there with my auger probe, there's a whole bunch of sand and gravel out there.
Yep.
I don't know, there's much more to say, in this context.
Okay. That's a pretty good summary. And, questions from board members? Nate?
Jeff, are these 1 foot or 2 foot contours?
I'm gonna have to squint, Nate.
I couldn't find.
Yeah, Adam. Bet they're twos.
They're 2.
They gotta be twos, cause the bold lines. Two, they gotta be twos.
Okay.
Good point. So, as we should add the labels, you want a condition of approval?
I do think the labels would be good.
My fault. I think I froze that layer. Sorry.
So I guess a couple of other questions. Lot 8 is, I haven't put a scale to this. Looks like the wetland starts, kind of closer to the road than in the other lots. When setbacks are considered, is there a building envelope that's reasonable without wetland impacts on lot 8?
My short answer is yes, but let me roll my scale around. So on lot 8, the biggest dimension I have is almost 300 feet. It's on the south border from the wetland to the road.
Yes, the south one.
Right. And so the wetland, in this case, the wetland's gonna be a 75-foot setback for any DES wastewater. So we've got a bunch of room in that context.
On the south side, it
In that
starts
corner.
narrowing as you work north.
Yeah, to answer your question, I think there's plenty of room, but it's gotta be located more on that southern portion of that lot.
Okay. So what is it? We're looking at 75 feet from the wetland in that direction, and then what is it, 30 feet from the road for R5?
Yeah.
And then 20 feet from the side lots?
Yep.
Mhm.
And 50 to the wetlands. 50 to
50 to the wetlands.
the wetland.
When I said 75, it's for wastewater, but yes, you're right for structure.
For structure.
We've got to keep the wastewater system at least
Right.
75 feet away.
Lots 5 and 6. How do the driveways? It looks pretty steep there, in terms of access to the rest of the parcel. The steep slope is kind of right there at the road. Is that feasible driveway wise?
In my world, it is because we can push a bunch of dirt and it's all gravel and sand. I talked to Rob about, it. We initially
Yeah.
looked at a PUD,
Cluster.
yeah, cluster, thank you. But I think the short answer is yes. Everything basically proximate to the road is all sand and gravel that can be moved. So I think the answer is yes.
Or retaining walls?
No,
No.
no need. I just,
I can't tell. I mean, it's really, it looks like maybe more than 20 feet there.
it's 20 plus actually on lot 6.
That's a lot of elevation change.
Yeah, lot 5 is probably 30, but, not to be profane, but everything on lot 5 next to the road, I can move it all. With a dozer, it's all. I actually didn't pay attention much to that because it's all malleable in terms of sand and gravel.
And whatever driveways are installed there would be subject to town permitting. So the town has regulations that DPW will evaluate in terms of
Yeah.
appropriate
Site
grades.
Yep.
Yeah. Is there any, I mean, is it feasible to have a shared driveway that serves those two lots? And maybe eliminates that potential earth moving impact.
I think the answer is yes, but when we looked at the cluster, there are a lot of options here. I think absolutely, if you guys think, condition of approval be, individual driveways or shared driveways to the extent needed for driveway permits, that's fine. I actually like the notion of shared driveways personally. That's,
Yeah, and I'm really just kind of looking at 5 and 6 as being the most challenging from a driveway perspective.
Yeah, there's a well on this property. Yeah,
yeah, but I don't know what it is.
legacy well.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what it is.
Right. We did finally get the camper out of there. Well, yeah, because there was a trailer there that was hooked up to the well. Actually, nice, no.
But your comments, Nate, about grades from the road into the lots on all the lots are absolutely valid.
Well, yeah, I mean, they
Need to be
pushed,
considered.
they pushed everything around there. We saw it before it was reclaimed.
Yeah.
We saw it after it was reclaimed. Pretty much
All
looks the
same.
same.
Yeah, just like when you look at
Oh, yeah.
5 and 6 in particular, I mean, that's pretty steep.
Yeah.
Right
Yeah.
there, right where the driveway would be coming
Yeah.
into those lots from the road.
I mean, they basically worked around trees there and
I don't know, I mean,
Yeah.
I think there might be a potential to serve those two lots with a
Yeah.
shared driveway for.
Yeah.
Not saying all 9 need to be a shared driveway,
No.
but
Well,
potentially serve those two from a shared
if you
driveway.
want to say, as a condition, if needed, I think there's enough dirt
Yeah.
to move out here that,
You can definitely say if needed as a condition.
yeah.
Nate, any other? Bill? You have anything?
I don't see anything that really stands out for me.
Okay, Dan?
Oh, I think I'm good. I've seen it, as I said, I've seen the property before it was reclaimed. I've seen it afterwards. She did a good job reclaiming based on what we saw before,
Oh, definitely.
because all they did was dig big holes in order to meet the state requirement. She had to do a lot of pushing. And brought down a lot of height at the same time. So, yeah, I don't see any problem with the subdivision.
Eric, any questions?
No, no questions.
Okay, I think we'll open it up to members of the public to see if they have any questions or comments. Could you please state your name and where you live?
Val Stinson. I live at 112 George Hill Road. One of my favorite bike routes is what I call going around the block, which is a 9.5-mile block on my bike, which takes me across Bog Road and right next to this property, and it's just beautiful. Part of the reason we moved here, it's so beautiful. With regards to housing, I think we need to address the housing needs of Enfield and the Upper Valley. So I support it in that way. I think the 5-acre lots are, keeping with the town character and what we've been trying to, hold on to. With the possibility of ADUs or, in whatever combination, it does, increase my, curiosity about, all the beautiful waterworks
About what?
all the beautiful waterworks that are around. So, you know, there's a creek that runs down through there. George's Pond is right there. Coal Pond is right
Mhm.
down the road. Anything that goes into those bodies of water also affect things downstream, you know, as far as Muscoma Lake. So, you know, that's just a question I have. I hear him sort of addressing it, but it's beyond my, you know, technical
Sure.
ability, but I just want to put that forward to the town as a concern. The other thing is just, somewhat selfishly, there's a lot of us walkers on George Hill. And, you know, during construction phases, will trucks be going up and down George Hill during that time? I realize that's somewhat selfish, but you may not need to, if you're going in and out of Bog Hill or 4A.
I'm gonna ask Jeff to
Yeah, I did.
respond.
Yeah, no, I'm not puzzled. I'm trying to figure out why they would want to go up George Hill and not down Bog Road.
Well, I think they're closer to George Hill than actually 4A. If I'm reading it correctly. No. I may have looked at something.
You've gotta go up and over the hill if you go George Hill,
Right.
and Bog Road is essentially flat. So if I were hauling gravel in or hauling sand out, I would be going Bog Road.
I would hope that would be the case.
Yeah.
Okay.
Jeff, did you want to respond to some of her other concerns?
Well, a couple comments. This site's a little bit unique, but because of sand and gravel.
Right.
So if somebody's hauling stuff in, I think they're asleep.
Plenty of material.
Yeah, I would expect the hauling in would be the building material for the houses.
So if you're doing concrete
Right.
and wood, I
Yeah.
get that. And, but if we're talking about construction materials, this is a rare site as far as, I mean, everywhere I put my probe in, it's all sand and gravel.
Mhm.
The other thing that I appreciate in a different way, we look at so many sites with respect to, you know, the change in impervious area for runoff, and what do you do? This is one of those sites that whatever falls off your home or whatever, it's gonna go right into the sand and gravel, so we're gonna have infiltration built in. You know, the building permit process doesn't necessarily require or allow you, Rob, to evaluate all that. But, you know, if I were next to the lake or something else, I know that's a different issue. In this case, this is a uniquely, it's a unique site in terms of soil, so any impervious change for the home or driveway and, you know, whatever else happens here, it's gonna go right into the sand and gravel that's here, so it's unusual.
I have a couple of questions. Is the soil or the sand of sufficient, quality that it will support a residence without shifting or sinking?
My gut reaction is yes, because it's been sitting here long enough. If stuff gets moved around and sets for about a year, I'm okay with that. My main question would be, can I use it for wastewater? And I think this is probably wastewater grade soil for the most part.
Mm-hmm.
It depends on the system that's chosen, but I can't imagine a site with better soils, David, honestly.
Is the construction going to happen all at once, or are the lots gonna be sold individually and each new owner gets to build whenever they are so motivated?
So my understanding, and Rob may know more than I know, is Nicole is in college or heading on to a further scholastic endeavors. And Vanessa Stone intends to sell lots individually. And whomever buys those lots will develop them as they desire.
Mm-hmm. Okay. That answers that question. Are you satisfied?
For now,
Okay,
I do have one other thought, but I think the rules are others should.
all right, well, who would like to go next? Anyone?
Anyone online?
Anyone online have any questions or comments? Shirley?
Shirley Green. Nate asked a lot of the questions that I had, and I was happy to hear that. And because I was wondering about the wetland and how close it was, and I'm happy to hear that, we can move that so that it isn't going to affect the wetland. But the water is also, it is a concern. You have to have a balance there and, to protect that. And how about, will they each have an individual septic system? Will this soil be able to?
Jeff, do you wanna,
Yeah, so, the soils here, I don't know, I haven't done a real evaluation with nitrate setbacks, but probably would accommodate 30 or 40 units to be blunt. The soils are that good. I haven't looked at it in those terms, but there'll be individual wastewater systems with wells as far as I understand how the 5 acre permitting process will go with the state. But the soils are phenomenal as far as wastewater goes, and I do a whole bunch of wastewater designs every year.
I know that, Art Conkey on the northern end of this active gravel pit, that there's lots that have been subdivided off and reclaimed. And the well he put in for the first unit that he built was unbelievable. It's like, I think it's a flowing artesian, a true
Yeah.
artesian. It's like 200 gallons a minute.
wow,
They had so much water that they were able to build a pond for the water, and it's because it's cold well water coming out that it supports trout.
Wow.
Nice deep pond with cold well water in it. Kind of cool.
Shirley?
And I understand there's a stream that goes through the property at some place.
Yes.
And the steps are taken to protect that stream from septic systems and runoff.
Yeah, one of our first steps, David, was to have Caitlin Banasek, certified wetland scientist, go out and flag the eastern boundary of the perennial stream, which we shot. We located with our survey crew. We didn't pay so much attention to the west side because we're not developing there, but one of our first steps was to say, where is the wetland boundary? And so that's what we're showing on the plan based on certified wetland scientist efforts.
Okay. Anyone else? Back to you.
So I am new to this area. I'm from another part of the United States. And this is like, honestly, I don't know the answer to this question. So does the town ever consider, so these are 5 acre lots, I assume, they could attract all kinds of people, all kinds of sizes of buildings. Do we ever include a caveat to these of having building of affordable homes?
Okay, I will try to answer that. As a town, we at this point offer no incentives to developers for building affordable or workforce housing. Those incentives might include density bonuses. You heard Jeff speak about cluster development, which is something that we do offer. It allows the structures to be closer together and leaves a lot of open land for essentially conservation. And I'm pretty sure that we give a density bonus on that. So a developer might be able to squeeze one or two more houses into a concentrated area. I would very much like to see the town develop some sort of bonuses for low-cost housing or lower-cost housing. perhaps that's something that we will do in our zoning rewrite, which we are gonna be working on after this hearing. And we have been working on that for quite a number of months. And the other part of the equation is the state and what they are or are not doing to actively promote workforce or lower income housing. They passed a lot of zoning reform, statewide mandates in the last 2 years, which don't exactly work everywhere in the state. And when it came to bills that would fund low interest loans or forgivable loans or subsidies, that kind of thing, the state just didn't really carry the ball anywhere. I'm hopeful as a state legislator that in the 26 part of the session next year, there will be some funding devoted to actually building housing and making it more affordable. But I'm only one of 400 odd people and I don't always get my way.
I don't think you're all odd, David.
Thank you, Jeff.
Had to say it, Nate.
So that's kind of where we are. I think, you know, we've got it in our sights, both on the town level and on the state level. Lack of infrastructure is a big barrier. We have a fairly small section of town that has municipal sewer and water. And the cost of putting in a septic system is $20,000, $30,000, $40,000 the last time I checked. And that adds a lot. And, you know, you've got your basic cost of your housing, your wood, your materials, your finished materials, and the cost of labor if you can find somebody who's willing to build your house. So basically,
Challenges.
there's a
Yeah.
lot of challenges that have to be solved.
Right.
On a lot of different levels, and it's not happening tomorrow, unfortunately.
And in the case of this property, it probably couldn't happen. Because in order to give the density incentives that would be necessary, as you said, you could probably do 40 on this. The roads wouldn't handle the 40. There'd be major infrastructure costs to Bog Road, as well as the amount of traffic would just make it impossible to have such a project. So in the case of this project, I think this is probably the best you can do is the 8 lots at 5 each. And the rest of it's all one big chunk, which I suspect is never gonna get subdivided because of the wetness back there anyways.
Jeff,
David, if I may, Dan, I think Nicole wanted to do one more lot
Right,
north, but there's an existing parcel at the north end that, so I just want to say to, if the lost boundaries get resolved, that she may
Right.
come back for,
Yeah.
for one more lot.
Mhm.
but we're not talking 15 more.
No, no.
lots.
right,
That's what I mean, is, yeah, that one more,
Yes,
which is why you keep it out of the equation, because you're not making that another lot. It's a part of the rest of the property, so you don't have to take care of the disputed piece.
yes.
and when you look at the overall area on Bog Road, it's very rural and adding 8 houses is really not gonna give a major impact on, what is it, 97 acres, give or take?
Yeah.
So in terms of maintaining the character of the area, this development is spot on, in my opinion. And, you know, it's gonna add to the tax base of the town. And hopefully, you know, the people that build on it will decide that they like the town of Enfield and will contribute. Just as you have decided to come and contribute. So,
I know that was a question kind of a far field, but thank you for indulging.
that's okay. An informed populace is a good populace. Any other questions or comments from the public? In that case, I declare the public hearing to be closed. Board members, what do we think? Bill, I didn't hear.
I think it's fine, part of what I've seen at this point.
Okay, Nate?
Yeah, I would have a condition where the final plan includes the elevation datums,
Mhm.
for reference. And then I would have a condition where lots 5 and 6 could be served by a shared driveway if determined to be necessary by Enfield DPW. Through the
Or
driveway permit
advantageous by,
process. Or determined to be advantageous by the
By the-
applicant.
the applicant.
Would you possibly add that any of them could?
Oh, sure.
Yeah.
But 5 and 6 in particular.
Oh, I know 5 and 6 in particular, but I mean,
I would
I'd
encourage.
rather see 5 curb cuts than, eight curb cuts.
Exactly. You know, character of the neighborhood wise,
right,
you know, this builds out with 8 or 9 curb cuts. and
Right.
It starts to look like suburbia and not
Right.
like Bob Road.
Well, that's
Bob
why
Road, you know.
yeah, I'm
To
going one
the-
step
to the extent that, you know, the number of curb cuts and driveway accesses could be reduced, I think that enhances the rural, you know,
yeah,
Yeah,
how it meshes with the rural character of
Right.
this area.
absolutely.
because you'd rather cut through one bank, 20-foot bank than 8.
So perhaps I could word the condition as the planning board encourages shared driveways where possible.
Sure.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's the only thing I would have for condition.
okay. Eric,
I'm in agreement.
okay. Do we need to add a condition that, septic be proven for this or not?
Well, the individual lot the state has to approve the septic anyway.
That's the state.
So it's not a
Okay.
condition that we can put on it. It's a condition that's already on it.
Okay. I'm waiting for somebody to make a motion.
Oh.
So moved with those conditions.
Yeah, second.
All right. Motion made and seconded. Since one person is remote, we have to do a roll call. We'll start with Eric.
Eric Russell, aye.
Dan,
I,
Nate Miller.
Nate.
Aye.
Bill Griffin, aye.
and David votes aye. Vote is unanimous. You have your subdivision.
Thank you, Jeff.
Thank you, Jeff. Appreciate your coming in. All right. Next on our agenda is select board report from Eric.
Yeah, so we had a good meeting, Monday night. We went through some business type things like a public hearing for the Comcast franchise. An update from Community Power. There's going to be some benches out on Booknell Brook for a Eagle project. Then of interest to this group might be the parking along Main Street continues to be worked on by town staff, and they're going to start implementing a 3-hour limit just in front of the businesses on Main Street to make sure traffic, sort of moves up. Give plenty of time for people to be there, but at the same time, not have people park all day in the same spot in front of the 56 Main, the new brewery, and the new coffee shop. So hopefully that'll go well. And then the Conservation Commission gave a little update on their work on Class 6 roads and basically recommended keeping them as Class 6 roads for now. So.
Any questions for Eric? I have one regarding the enforcement of parking. Will there be signs put up?
Yes, yeah, and they've got additional new signs just all around parking, but yes, there will be signs put up, and with our community policing focus, they'll really be working with people not to give them tickets, but if they do give ticket, there will be tickets given if somebody is a repeat offender. Yep.
Okay, thanks, Eric. Rob?
So just piggybacking on Eric, the select board also did approve a application for Optimistic Brewery for 79E relief. You guys are familiar with that? It's an industrial exemption that people can apply for to basically redevelop older properties that are in need of essentially conversion. So they're going to get a 3-year tax discount on the improvements, not on the full value, but just what they've done to basically upgrade the building. We also came up with a policy that they're implementing at the select board level to help guide them in those decisions for future use that will basically make determinations based on the value of the improvements that are being made and the impact to the town in terms of the benefit, the public benefit. So we're trying to give them some stuff, though it's not just completely arbitrary, as we think this is a good idea, but they do have some guidelines to sort of address that with that. And we've sort of used, I had some experience in Plainfield with the barn program, which I think is 79D. And we sort of use some of those kind of ideas to sort of the maximum benefit is available for specific qualifications. And so I think that all went really well. I'm very happy with the select board, and hopefully that's working well. I mean, the brewery seems to be doing really well. I've seen it really busy there. Talked to Dan, the guy that's the principal there. I think he's very happy. I think his only problem is being able to make enough. It's a small brew house, so he's basically trying to grow his capacity as we speak. I think he started out, it was 1 batch a week. I think he's already up to 2. I think he's now working on plans to get us to 3 batches a week, or get himself to 3 batches a week. So I think he needs a few more pieces of equipment, but the early results are very good. I think positive too that the coffee shop seems to be a big hit. I've heard good things about that. Coffee's great, lattes, etc. We did reach out to several of those businesses with regard to his parking comments, just to make sure that those businesses were on board with what we want to propose that 3-hour limit, which most of those businesses are like, that's plenty. I mean, Kitchen 56, she's like, that's plenty of time for people to come in and get their dinner and actually enjoy themselves and not have to rush off. So 3 hours was our sort of opening, and everybody seems to support that, including Optimistic. I attended a seminar today put on by Dartmouth College. Several of their professors have implemented a program to do some resiliency planning with regard to floods. It was a really good session. Several of their hydraulic scientists, professors were involved. There was representatives of the Regional Planning Commission, several communities. I had the opportunity to be on a panel with a couple of the Hartford staff, and it was very productive, talking about what we can do to be ready for floods. And it's very interesting. They presented some data to us that sort of show the change in climate that we've experienced here in New England and New Hampshire specifically, where it shows the sort of flood events of concern are sort of now stacking into, we're just coming into the season. So it's basically late summer, early fall, where you can kind of see those big events. It's like, basically it's really wet in the winter, spring, and then it kind of drops off into May, June, July are kind of the driest months of the year, which certainly jives with what we saw this summer. And then the rainfall totals start to peak back up with hurricanes and tropical storms and so forth that we're likely to see, although 15-day forecast does not suggest that we're going to see much precipitation. I'm concerned. Personally, I saw the really hard rain we got on Saturday for about 20 minutes was damaging because the ground was so dry that there's no sort of cohesion of the soils. And they talked about that, the professors. These are all there was 5 or 6 Dartmouth professors at this event today. And, the science was fascinating that they talked about. And they talked about the rivers and they even brought up some of the relicensing that the Wilder Dam is going through. Looks like they're going to sort of have to change their methodology at Wilder to be continuous instead of batch release.
The up and down.
Exactly. And it already, in the most recent relicensing they did, I don't know, 10 or 15 years ago, they put a turbine in there that continuously spins. When they first built it, there were 2 turbines that were only spinning when they opened the gates and let a big slug of water out. But I think this kind of research that these guys have done has suggested that it's much better to sort of let it sort of continuously release on its natural flow and just basically take advantage of it. It's a little disappointing, I think, for the dam, the company that has it, because they really like that sort of batch release where they can meet the demand. The demand really kicks in when everybody leaves from work to go home. And so they start the release at about 4:30 or 5 o'clock. And if you spend any time below the dam, you got to be ready, because that water will come up really quick and it makes no noise. And so we've had people die in their waders fishing, just unbeknownst to them, the water's coming up and pulls them right under. So I think that the relicensing will probably push it to a more continuous flow release that sort of matches the natural flow of the river. But that was a really good program. We'll probably have some follow-up from that I can offer. They collected a lot of information. They were sort of trying to figure out what they can do as scientists to help us as a municipality to prepare and execute. The bad news there is, and you guys probably are well aware of this, that FEMA is falling apart right now. And it's intentional. They're sort of scuttling FEMA. Most concerning to us as a community is the mitigation grant money that they traditionally have offered municipalities. We've taken advantage of it here. My hometown of Plainfield taking advantage of it. It's basically when they do a disaster declaration, a certain percentage of those funds become available for future prevention or mitigation of possible disasters. And they said that basically right now that has gone to zero. They're not giving any money for hazard mitigation or future mitigation grants. And as you guys know, we've had several major disasters in the country and FEMA is pretty much sitting on its hands. So that's a bit of a concern. And it may be that one of their recommendations today was that communities may want to, and this is probably up your alley when you talk about capital improvements, they may want to have some kind of capital reserve fund created for disaster preparedness. Because basically their moral of the story to us was when hits the fan, no cavalry is coming, at least for the next 3.5 years. And so we may want to somehow get some preparation, at least on our own part. But that was really good. I'm pleased to say that I'm working with Renee. We have an event scheduled for October 18th at the Enfield Community Building. We're going to do, with the regional planning, a ADU seminar, basically like a little mini expo about ADUs. basically, we've done a lot of great work, you guys have, and I'm proud of that. I think the moral of the story there is that a lot of people still don't know what we've done. You know, there's confusion, people are just not aware of what it is. And I talked to, I had a nice conversation with Matt Dow, builder from Canaan. And I was explaining to him, what we got, and he's like, wow, I didn't know that. So there it is. Like, we need to do more work, and this is great. We're gonna work with the regional planning. We're inviting some architects and some builders, maybe even some financiers, and we're trying to get some experts on the scene. It's gonna be in the morning till about noontime to try to share as much as we can information about what we offer. Because I would describe Enfield's regulations with regard to ADUs as the most generous in the state. Now, we allow 2 ADUs and we allow 1,200 square feet, which not many communities would stack up to that. So I think that's a great thing. We're doing that. There's also, I just found out about it today. I signed up, town manager is working with, I don't remember exactly who it is. It's not the regional planning, but they're doing a seminar at the community building next month in October for selectmen and city council members, how to deal with difficult people, which is kind of interesting. And I'm actually going to attend, and that's open. If anybody has any desire to go, you can sign up. It's free. We're open for a good crowd for that as well. I'm also participating. The town manager has asked me to be involved with, we're doing at the New Hampshire Municipal Association's annual conference coming up in a month or so, down in Manchester. We are going to be doing a panel with regional planning, town of Enfield, and a representative of the Nature Conservancy, who you came to our event that we did a couple months ago, which was a resiliency exercise that was funded by the Nature Conservancy. We invited people and we had a really awesome facilitated discussion. There is a final product there. And basically, we're going to sort of get the word out to other municipalities about that as an option, which I thought was a great exercise. The final product I can share with you guys once it's completely ready to go. They developed a report that sort of outlines our resiliency work that we're doing here. And it's neat because City of Lev did it, so the town of Hartford, we're sort of the 3 guinea pigs to sort of get the word out about that service and availability to other communities. I think that the Regional Planning Commission will do some work to try to maybe in the future to sort of group up some communities. Like the one idea I had was, Newbury, New London, and Sunapee. That's kind of a watershed that they all already work together in several respects, particularly on the assessing side, that they could do a sort of facilitated session for them. We're just basically trying to spread the word. I think that Nature Conservancy has done 500 communities already, and they're looking for more. They want to do more, and this is no cost to the communities, and it's very high quality. This is the facilitators are people with PhDs in resiliency and disaster preparedness, and I thought it was a great event. I think you were at that, weren't you? David, you were there.
Yeah.
Nate, were you there?
I was.
Yeah, so kind of a cool thing, and we're sort of spreading the word at the Municipal Association's annual conference. So we'll be down there. I think it's a 3-day conference, if I'm not mistaken, but I'll be down there for just one of those days.
For NHMA?
Yeah.
I think so.
Yep.
They've got another one. They're doing the land use conference too. That's a different conference though.
Yes, that's on a Saturday. And I can send you guys the information about that. That's one that I think some of you guys have attended in the past.
Are they going back to in-person on
Yes.
that?
Yep.
They are.
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah, and then I will be attending, I think it's coming up in November, NECAPA. You gonna go?
I don't know.
Okay.
I haven't decided yet.
That's the Northern New England chapter of the American Planners Association conference that rotates between the 3 northern New England states, Maine, New Hampshire, Vermont. Last year it was in Vermont. I didn't get to go to that one because we had some issues there, but I've been to several of them and they're excellent shows. This one coming up, it'll be in Portland, Maine in November. So I'm going to go. That's a 3-day conference. That has all kinds of like plenary sessions and lots of great networking and just a good conference. My intention is I finally got to the point where I've got enough job experience that I can now go for the AICP
Yeah,
test.
there you go.
And of course, that would also include the sort of continuing education credits that you need to maintain that. It's a certification for planners that I'm hoping to get. It's a pretty serious test I gotta take, and
You have to go to an actual testing center and
Proctored test.
you'll be in the middle of a bunch of people taking their SATs and stuff.
yeah,
Yeah.
it will give me that designation at the end of my name. It says, town manager is very interested in getting that for me as professional development. And so I said, okay,
Study your case law,
exactly.
study the ethics policy.
Okay,
Great.
Good luck.
Yeah, thank you.
moving along, legislative update. We are preparing for the 2026 session. The bill filing window is next week. So there's a lot of activity. Yours truly is stressed out. In terms of things that might affect us, there's a lot of people that are trying to address some of the statewide zoning mandates, get them rolled back or otherwise dealt with. Personally, I'm working on a bill that would modify the ADU bill and return local control in the shoreline protected zone. Because, towns know what goes on in their area and they have a real good idea of whether a particular shoreline property can support one or two ADUs. We might beef up the septic requirement to be equivalent to what we have here in Enfield. In the shoreline area, which is, it's gotta be up to current code. And, I'm working with somebody from across the aisle on a few other bills. The one that probably impacts us the most would be training for planning board and zoning board members. Perhaps a little bit more rigorous testing and updating the testing and, some sort of annual recertification so that we are up to speed on laws, current practices, and just try to move the entire land use boards in New Hampshire forward incrementally, hopefully for the benefit of all of us. And that's it in a nutshell. And, let's go on to approve minutes from the 13th of August.
Anybody need copies? So,
Anybody have any questions or comments?
I just have one on the 13th. I think the minutes are well done. Overall, I didn't notice much at all. So very, very good, Kristen.
Yeah,
The line 43 on August 13th, it says relief from the zoning board of appeals, should say the zoning board of adjustment. So other than that, it looks really good.
okay. Anybody else have any questions or comments on the August 13th? Eric, you good?
I'm good.
Okay,
I guess the only thing I would do is Jim Bonner is no longer an alternate. He never signed
That's
up
true.
again, so he shouldn't be shown as absent.
okay. Somebody want to make a motion
Motion to accept the minutes
as amended?
as been.
Second,
Motion made to accept the minutes as amended. Motion made by Tim Jennings, seconded by Dan Kiley. Eric, how do you vote?
Eric, aye.
Dan,
Dan, I,
Tim?
Aye.
Nate?
Aye.
Bill,
Aye.
I wasn't there, so I'm gonna abstain. Okay. Next, we have the minutes of the 27th of August. Anybody have any questions or comments?
Line 218. That's to say merge lane.
Yep. Did you get that, Kristen?
Yes, thank you.
Okay. Anybody else? I have a couple. Line 211, was that Sharon Buffet?
Yeah.
Does anybody remember?
Yes,
Okay. Buffet, Beaufait. And going backwards. Where'd it go? Line 175, a resident, do we have a name or can we guess?
deserve,
Was that who it was?
think so. Yeah. This deserve,
I don't know.
I don't know what's her first name. It should be on here. Win dessert.
Okay. Those are my comments. I'll echo Nate's that I'm just really impressed
Yeah.
with the way you do the minutes. So thank you. Thank you very much. Great job.
Thank you.
Motion,
I make a motion, we approve the minutes of August 27th as amended.
do I hear a second? Somebody please?
Second.
Motion made by Dan Kiley, seconded by Nate Miller. Let's go the other way. Bill, how do you vote?
I abstain. I wasn't.
Okay, Bill abstains. Nate,
Nate, aye.
Tim,
I abstain, I wasn't there.
okay, Dan,
Aye.
Eric,
Aye.
and I will say aye. Okay. Minutes are approved as amended. Old business, New Hampshire hop zoning.
Can I mention one thing just before we get into that? Cause I probably should have added it to at the end of Rob's report, but I don't want it to slip my mind. And we just got done reading minutes about Route 4 and I would be remiss in not mentioning that the 10-year plan, the 2027 to 2036 New Hampshire DOT's 10-year plan has been released. There will be a series of public hearings around the state. That 10-year plan has good news and bad news for Enfield in it. The good news for Enfield is that Enfield's TAP application, its Transportation Alternatives Program application for 4,850 linear feet of stone dust trail along New Hampshire Route 4A was funded and is included in the draft 10-year plan
Yay.
for $2.585 million.
Right.
The bad news, which somewhat dwarfs the good news, is that unfortunately, the longstanding project to address Drybridge Hill and the issues on Drybridge Hill, all construction funding was cut from that project. So PE and right-of-way phase money, so engineering and right-of-way phase money is still in. All of the construction funding was cut. And that's about somewhere between an $8 and $9 million loss to Enfield's infrastructure.
Mm-hmm.
This is a draft 10-year plan. There are hearings by GACIT, G-A-C-I-T, the Governor's Advisory Commission on Intermodal Transportation. That is a fancy name that means the executive counselor plus the commissioner of transportation. Those hearings, let me pull it up. I just pulled it up. The hearings closest to Enfield will be hosted by Counselor Leo Hill. October 21st in Lebanon at 6 p.m. or no, I'm sorry, 7 p.m. October 21st in Lebanon, 7 p.m. in the city council chambers. That would be the closest to Enfield. This is a draft 10-year plan. It is not a final 10-year plan. There will be changes and horse trading between the councilors that happen, before the 10-year plan is finalized. So if you want to have your say on the draft 10-year plan, that would be a very good time to do it. If you have concerns about Drybridge Hill and that project and the reduction of funding there, that October 21st hearing would probably be the most convenient location for Enfield residents and stakeholders to go and provide comments to the counselor directly. The only other one that's even, remotely nearby is Newport, October 2nd at 6 p.m. at the Newport Recreation Community Center. There are about 24 of these happening around the state, but those two were the closest to here in Enfield. So please, take a look at the draft 10-year plan and consider going out to one of the Gassett hearings and providing your comments on
Public
Enfield's
Works
project.
Director and I.
That's it. Thank you for allowing me that to.
No, that is
Yeah.
very good and disheartening news. Yes.
And I ask, I've got two gentlemen here. It's gonna be germane to your conversations coming up. Did we get these guys up and have them say what they want to say? Send them back in if they're so inclined. It's up to you guys.
Board, shall we break
Yep.
order and allow these two gentlemen to speak to us?
Yeah.
Okay,
Pleasure, thanks.
why don't you come up to the table and
Both of you.
introduce yourselves?
I might stick around. I like a good zoning discussion.
Tell us who you are and where you live.
Yeah.
And then tell us,
Separate
Well,
parties,
no.
so we are not together here, but probably have similar mindsets. I can go first. So my name's Adam Grounds. Pleasure to meet you all. Not a resident here in Enfield, but recently purchased property, actually Phil Vermeer's old property on Main Street.
Mhm.
It's my desire to contribute to the area by building some housing on the site. It's kind of an oddly shaped site that makes it challenging to do efficient layouts with kind of normal zoning. So for example, cluster zoning would be challenging having the appropriate buffers given the shape of the site. But I think the site holds a lot of promise. It's right off of Main Street, easy walking distance to Optimistic, Carpenter's Cup, 56 Main, easy walking distance to Lakeside Park, Village School. And so it's my hope to be able to develop a portion of the site and build housing there in on a cottage court formats where there's good access to open space for all residents, but be able to build housing that's attainable for families. And my background is in single family development. I've done that in a number of places in the country, but I have a lot of love for the Upper Valley. I'm originally from Arizona, but met my wife while at Dartmouth. Her family's lived off and on in the Upper Valley for about 100 years now. So they go a little further back, but I have a lot of love for this area. And, as someone who has spent my career to date working in housing development, I'd be very excited to be able to contribute high quality new housing in a nice walkable area right on Main Street with access right there to municipal services, water, sewer, and try and do it in a way that is, I hesitate to use the term affordable, but trying to do it in a way that is kind of approachable for families without having public subsidies. So building it with the final price in mind and cost to who a purchaser could be. But hoping to build a little bit of density of housing there in a very thoughtful way. Obviously, there'll be plenty more to come. This is kind of very early, but just wanted to take an opportunity to introduce myself, let you know that I'm kind of poke around in town and hoping to contribute housing into this area. It's such a lovely town. I've been watching many of your past planning board meetings and lively zoning discussion. And I just thank you for the efforts you're undertaking in, approaching rewrites to zoning. So I'm excited to be here, be in the town, and looking forward to future meetings. And Rob's been really great to work with. So I'm, very thankful to Rob for all the support. And like I said, just hoping I can contribute nicely to.
Good.
what you're
Well,
doing here.
we look forward to a conceptual hearing in, within the next 6 months. So get busy.
Yeah.
Go.
Adam's actually also working in a few other Upper Valley towns.
Yeah, trying to do some stuff in Hartford as well.
Uh-huh.
And getting my hands busy. Like I said, I've spent a lot of time doing housing projects of different types, from single family to larger multifamily projects around the country. But I really love this area and want to be a thoughtful contributor of housing solutions. And I see a lot of right now, especially more kind of multifamily getting developed, but not as much housing for young families or really like new housing for empty nesters either. And I think there's a real need for that I'm hoping to be able to contribute to.
Good.
Yeah. So as you know, we're engaged in a zoning rewrite, and it's entirely hinging on whether we get passed.
Yes.
But assuming we did, and assuming the new zoning ordinance was somewhat like what we've been talking about, I think what you'll find is, and it's just my opinion, maybe others differ, but what I hope will happen is that the regulations will be adaptable and flexible enough that instead of us prescribing what a court-like development would look like, is that you guys would show us what it is you want to do. And, outside of a few key setback issues and things like that, I don't want to see the town prescribing what you can and can't do. And so I really look forward to the creativity and entrepreneurship and whatever it takes to get these things done. We want to enable that.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm noticing the time, and we have, Renee's been sitting very patiently in the back. So I will ask you to, make your remarks as brief as possible.
Okay, my name is Jamie Hutchins. I've got some maps. Pass these around if you can. I will say I'm very impressed with the way you guys run this meeting. It's very organized and it's very official, and I like that. I'm really impressed. And I'm very impressed with what Tim just said about what the board wants to see, or what he as a board member wants to see happen this spring when you vote on this. In front of you is the piece of land that I'm buying next week, I hope. It's 492 Route 4, has town water and town sewer on it. It's 5.12 acres. It's not a big piece of land, but it does have some water issues. It's a piece of,
Where is it?
it's Raphael's.
Oh, Raphael's, okay.
Yeah.
Piece.
Now I know where we are.
Raphael's.
Yeah.
What is it?
Yeah.
Raphael's Cucina or something?
Yeah.
Used to be on that one, and then I guess it burned down.
Yep.
I think I went there in the 70s.
Probably did.
Don't remember much, but.
Yeah, been there.
I was in high school then. So, I grew up in Norwich and I went to Hanover High School, so I've been around here for a long time in this area. I've done a lot of developing, a lot of building in Vermont. It's my first project in New Hampshire. And we're gonna be building, I'm trying to build 12 houses this fall. But I think building this fall, as Rob pointed out, was probably gonna be a stretch, considering the water issues that we have on this piece of land. Talking to Jeff as he walked out the door, he was giving me the rundown on exactly what the water issues are. just making it clear that you have a guy working on the water issues on this piece of land. And he's gonna try to solve them as quickly as he can, but it's probably gonna be spring. But, he's gonna do some work for me, which is cool. So I'm just asking you to keep an open mind. I'm thinking about having this cottage court concept, which is new to me. But I like the idea of, clustering the homes closer together, keeping more open space behind them or to the side of them. And, doing that, I think it makes sense to me from a conceptual point of view. And, it's obvious, I think it's just obvious that it makes more sense all the way around.
That's the kind of things that or the kind of developments that we're looking for here in Enfield. I think it's reflected in our master plan. We want to keep the rural character. We don't want to see a lot of 3 and 4 story apartment blocks.
Right.
Although some of them are necessary
They are,
as
sometimes
part
they are.
of the mix.
I don't think Route 4 is the right place for one. I think maybe someplace, with a bunch of big trees in the front, you hide it out back behind the trees. But,
Have you studied our zoning ordinance,
not yet.
the existing ordinance?
No, I haven't.
Yeah, I think you're gonna find it's quite restrictive for where what your idea is in the lot you wanna put it in the zone. And gosh,
You're working to address.
I can't really say, if I were you, I'd hold off till see if the zoning changes, cause then it'd be drastically different.
Yeah, that's what I'm getting. It's a
But,
concept.
that might be a good bet.
Listen to our discussions and that will give you somewhat of a clue.
Yeah,
Ultimately, it's up to a town vote, which will happen in March, but as a planning board, we are trying to set some real positive direction. And
are you anticipating some positive feedback on the new zoning regulations, or are you expecting them to?
well, we haven't really gone public with it as yet. We're still discussing, our use table, where our specific boundaries are going to be or might be changed. But our goal is to put something before the voters at town meeting 2026.
Right.
And we've got a lot of work.
It's a
So,
lot faster. It's coming up a lot faster than we.
yeah,
I think how you could help is, if you had the ability to produce some sort of, graphic of what
Right.
you have in mind,
both of you.
absolutely, that we could show the public is, this is the kind of thing we can't do now. And this is what we want to do, and this is why we need to change the ordinance to allow it. That would be helpful.
I would.
We don't have to walk it around town, do we?
Yeah,
No,
no,
Same
no,
with boards and stuff.
no. No,
Okay, so
Yeah,
you guys are gonna
right.
walk it around town.
yeah,
yeah,
Yeah.
we have to have
Oh, yeah.
public hearings and focus group.
Yeah.
Got a whole bunch of steps that we have to go through to get public buy-in.
right. But right now, the area you're talking about is very restrictive.
Okay.
It's not meant for housing at this point, and we're saying,
At least ground.
why not?
Yes, yeah.
I mean, that's what the rewrite basically says is, why not?
So hopefully you can get your water issues, somewhat under control.
Yeah,
And that's floodway kind of issues.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Um,
it's major changes to the map since they put in the larger culverts back on Lovejoy Brook.
Yeah.
It actually floodway now.
Yeah, but I think well,
That means you gotta get
the engineer.
that means you gotta get FEMA
Right.
redone, and
Right.
who knows how long that's gonna take, given
It is.
FEMA cuts.
It was wet out there when I was there in early June.
Yeah,
Yeah,
It was really wet.
yeah.
Thank you, guys.
Okay, yeah,
Thank you
thanks for
for
coming
letting
in.
us-
I'm really, really happy that both of you have looked at Enfield and, seem to have decided, well, you especially, because you put the money down.
I'm closed. Yeah, there's no
You
escape.
know, you're into it.
He's closing next week.
I'm, he said hopefully,
Yeah.
and never say it's a done deal until it's a done deal.
The link's dry.
But I'm just real glad that the two of you have independently decided that Enfield is a good place to
Yeah. So nice.
sink some money into and help the community. So we hope to be working with you
Definitely.
as your projects develop.
Can I get my little maps back, please?
Sure.
like,
Wanna
Well,
pass
thank you
it
so
back
much
that
for
way?
having us today, and it's
Right,
exciting to
thank
be
you.
here. It's really
Good.
excited to
Thank
come
you.
back with some conceptuals, hopefully in the near future. Working
Yeah.
with Jeff tomorrow morning, so
Great.
we're working on
all
it.
right.
Great.
Thank you.
Okay, Renee, again, you've been very, very patient and we kind of had to schedule that subdivision hearing.
Not a problem at all.
We put them off.
I'll call you in the morning about that phone.
Thank you.
Okay.
It was wonderful to hear both of your conceptual coming up too, so that's awesome, and yeah, definitely, excited to hear more about that.
Renee, the meeting is yours.
All right, well, let's see, where to start? So Miss was not here last meeting, which worked out. I know you guys had the big, concept design review for you guys in front of you. And I was double booked, but it worked out, so it was good. So we have, so last meeting I was here the 13th. We have the downtown drafted. Some internal review notes are still happening. Enfield Village, is internal review. We were hoping to have that for tonight, but unfortunately don't have it, just yet. But we're shooting for both that and the Route 4. So it'll be interesting to look at it a little bit more with some of this other concept, coming down the pike, for hopefully the 24th meeting. So in that way you guys have the full month of October, as we talked about before, to kind of really pick through it, for those 2 zones or 3 zones.
We might
Uh-huh.
need to have a
That-
special meeting of some sort.
Yeah.
To
I was-
work on the
know.
24th.
Yeah, because 24th, we're
24th is.
we're
not gonna be
doing-
able to
We
do.
start at 4:00.
Well-
Fourth and
Yeah.
go to whenever.
Oh, on the 24th.
It's
you are?
Alarm Farms
Oh,
again.
okay,
We're
sorry.
doing the walkthrough and then
oh,
the
Gotcha.
meeting,
sugar.
Okay,
That's the 24th of
September.
September.
Right,
well, our goal is to have to you those drafts by then.
Yeah.
You know, we can certainly
Okay.
meet after that and
Yeah.
talk about it whenever's convenient from then
What if-
after, or the
what if
first
we
meeting in
met
October.
on- Could we meet, could we have I don't really want to sign myself up for more night meetings because
Sure you
I've got
do.
enough, but
Sure you do.
we might need to have an off-cycle
I think-
meeting if we're gonna get this thing
Right.
to the finish
I
line
think you're right.
and deal with Laramie Farms and everything else
Right.
that's on our plate right now. We may need to have at least one.
2 more.
Yeah, yeah.
I think 2.
Right.
Off-cycle meeting, when that's the first Wednesday or the
first
third
Wednesday in
Wednesday.
October.
But I think, tick tock,
Yeah.
it's September 10th. And if we're gonna be ready with this, we need to have.
Yeah.
We need to have a meeting where this is our sole
That's
focus.
the only thing we're doing.
And we're not getting to it at 8
Right.
o'clock because we've had, major
Right.
subdivision in front of us and
Yeah.
other things going on where this is just our sole focus.
Can we do the first Wednesday in October?
I don't see why not.
Cause you say you're gonna have it ready September 24th.
Yeah, we should have it by then.
So if you've got it to us then we can discuss it on the first Wednesday in October.
So Rob, we're
That
talking
work?
about special meeting,
I may.
first Wednesday of October, which is October 1st.
I think you're on the right track, Nate, because you're getting more and more busy here.
Yes,
Mhm.
I actually just got site plan application for a new dealership in town. I think I told you guys about it.
It's the one up at
The Hales Garage.
Hales Garage,
It's
yes.
gonna be a Bobcat dealer, so that's coming up in October. And
They were
obviously
digging
we
there
got stuff
today.
at the next meeting this month,
Yeah,
so it's just starting to stack
It,
up.
it's, yeah, if we're not gonna be able to do it and meet the deadlines that need to be met
Yeah.
with the other things on our plate, if we don't have
right.
at least one, if not two
Yeah.
special meetings to
Yeah.
deal with this.
You said Wednesday first?
Wednesday, October 1st.
Yeah, I can do that.
Yeah,
Work session only.
work
Yeah.
session only,
Yeah,
nothing else.
Do not schedule anything else.
Will that be open to the public?
Of course. Anytime we meet, it's open to the public. It'll be a posted meeting.
because I don't think we're gonna. We won't be
No.
able, we won't be able to do anything on this on the 24th.
No,
No,
no.
no,
I was wondering, I was gonna ask about that. You guys have planned, yeah.
it's,
Site visit and a continued major site plan review.
And if there's anything else we can do, it'll be between the two meetings, the site visit and the meeting itself.
So, when,
Did we come up with that?
Are we sticking with 6:30?
Which,
Yeah.
that give us 2 hours
yeah, 6:30.
and more if we need it.
Yeah.
The draft language you have for EV and Route 4
4, yeah.
and anything on,
The downtown was done. We're just adding some of the tweaks from the conversation on some of the
Okay.
uses. So we'll have, that's being.
Can they-
implemented.
if they send the drafts when they finish them
Yeah.
to Rob, can they be submitted to the board right away? I mean, we don't have to
Yeah, we
wait till a
can-
meeting.
Yeah,
no, that would be
Yeah.
good to give
Yeah,
us
as
time
soon
to
as we
look
get
at
it
it.
done, well,
yeah.
we'll get it. And it was, yeah, and it was helpful too to have, Tim, your, draft and the infield rewrite draft as a whole and what you're thinking of it looking like, so we can format a little bit and make sure we're in line, because, some of it's a little rough still, but we can try to tweak some formatting. I think Grace has some time in the next week or two too, so hopefully she can work on that as well to get it so it's nice and clean.
You got anything on the downtown thing that Tim Josephson did? Any final report yet?
I was just thinking that, I was
6
like,
months
I
ago?
haven't heard the
That was
engineers.
a long time ago.
It's
I was at that. I brought my daughter. That was last winter, wasn't it?
Yes.
She's in high school now, right?
Yeah, February, March.
Drive.
Yeah, right?
Last I knew and last I heard, it was still with the engineers. I know,
She's in a different grade
Things-
school now.
so I will, poke about it tomorrow and see what I can find out,
Well,
Okay.
but
please characterize
yes.
people that are working on this, that we don't have this next week or two. It's gonna be completely a useless exercise. We won't have the information. We will have moved ahead with the zoning ordinance without it.
Yeah.
So,
See what we can get them.
I don't know if the rest of you
Time
feel
isn't
that
the
way,
essence.
but I'm,
No, I think you're,
We'll even accept a draft.
Yeah,
yeah, why not?
We're jumping too far. Shirley's been. Hey, you remember the name of that firm? She's gonna. You
Which
got
firm?
something? No, do you have something for tonight?
No.
Oh, okay. We just didn't want to make sure that you had been sitting there for 2 hours also. and you had-
Main Street thing.
You're taking it in,
Okay.
like going to a select board meeting. Just take it in. If you can hear us.
Was it EHB?
EHB?
I don't think so.
What's EHV?
We were just trying to remember the firm. Firm
Oh.
we were using for.
Oh,
I think it was EHB. EH.
No. Oh,
So,
So I'll definitely see if we can get that and include some kind of draft with the draft edits that we provide as well, so that it can, as to your point, that it can correlate. I mean, I know as Nate mentioned, the 10-year plan, that might impact some of that for that intersection, but one thing at a time.
yes.
And so hopeful that things may change, as well down the road, so. I guess my other question was, the home-based business. I
Yep.
think we have a pretty good
I like
snapshot.
it.
Was there any, we reviewed it internally, and felt like it was pretty much on target. But wanted to know if there's any other board members to take notes for, I can take notes for the team. So
That's the one that we wordsmithed.
A little
Yeah.
bit, yeah.
Yeah, I liked it.
I'm not entirely happy with all of the sections quite yet, but, I'm kind of thinking compared to where I was headed originally for tonight's meeting, I'm wondering if, should give everyone a briefing of the draft zoning ordinance overall, just a real quick run through. So you see how everything fits together. And, whether or not we come back to this, or even the land use table, maybe not necessary tonight. I'll wait till.
I'm real close to saying we gotta put the table to bed at some point, because
yeah,
we spent 3 meetings on the table.
It's
And-
pretty close.
And it's gotta be, you gotta close it at some time.
Can we work
The
back?
final
for a
week
second?
is,
What is we committed to going back out to the public with a draft prior to,
right,
right?
Right.
A forum of some sort.
right,
Now we're SB2, which changes the calendar a little bit.
right.
Yeah, we've,
When do we have to have our public hearing?
just some.
so they and I had a phone meeting about that, and
we didn't know the answer.
we didn't, so we know the date is February 2nd, I believe is the deliberative session.
So deliberative is.
Usually NHMA puts.
Right.
Yeah.
I think
Calendar.
it's
Yeah, there you
December
go.
for
Important
SB2.
dates.
But we'd have to
SB2
have-
March, SB2 March.
Right.
Last day for, okay,
It's just December 10th.
so January 1st is to publish a notice for first hearing
Right.
or zoning ordinance. Okay.
But it's really short, like if you wanna do
Yeah,
a
it's
second
short.
hearing, you have to do it in
Yeah.
January
Right.
So
January
really, we want to
26th.
be doing
Yeah.
mid-December.
Most,
Mhm.
yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So, so mid-December to have a public hearing on a draft,
Yeah.
which is 3 months from now.
Right.
And
Not a lot of time.
yeah,
And I guess one question I had in this too was, Tim and I were talking about it because I was wondering if has there been any outreach to town council as to the whole appeal and replacement?
Good question. I haven't.
Nothing formal. Eric, can you weigh in on that?
Cause I would just wanna make sure.
So, no, I don't believe anybody's reached out to council around this at this point.
Do you expect that the select board would be concerned that we're redoing the whole thing?
No, I have not heard any concerns. I think largely because the board has done a great job with the overall process. So I have not heard any concerns regarding putting forth a new zoning, like a wholesale change to zoning, no.
So it's the process to do that we want to make sure we do properly, and that's the legal question. Also, the whatever draft zoning ordinance we come up with needs a full legal review. So that needs to be brought to the, Ed's attention. And, you know, hopefully we got enough money set aside to do that.
Yeah, so
Um,
that'll fall to Rob's plate. As far as facilitating that through town, through the government, through the staff side of things.
So we need to factor that in time-wise to allow that to happen. You know, legal counsel may take a couple of weeks or.
The last time that I spoke to Ed about review of our new zoning, he was pretty confident that because we're having professionals involved rather than a do-it-yourself ground up, that the review by town attorney would be fairly quick and there would not be a lot of need for changes.
Well, however, the professionals are only dealing with 3 zoning districts. We get an entire rest of the ordinance, most of which is verbatim. in
It's
the
not,
other ordinance.
not changes, right?
Uh,
It
So
looks
my-
different, but it's still the same old
It's the
stuff.
same thing. Yeah.
Yeah, so I guess my curiosity, my kind of call out, I guess, would just be that, you know, maybe start broaching town council on, we're adding, really amending these 3 sections, formatting the rest. How does this need to go to ballot legally so that you're prepared on which portions need to be in the public hearing? Because if formatting doesn't, then it wouldn't be the whole thing. So, and again, we're not legal, and so we would err on the side, but
Yep.
of wanting just make, but just a call out in the timeline of things that I just want to make sure that we don't go through all this and then all of a sudden legal says, you
Yeah.
know, so.
Let's keep pulling this thread of the timeline.
Okay,
So January 12th is the last date
Right.
we can have a public hearing.
mhm,
And that, unless we have a public hearing in December, we don't have the opportunity to have a second public hearing if necessary. So December public hearing really should be kind of the goal.
Yes.
Problem with December is after about the 20th, people take off.
Yeah.
They're not paying attention anymore, which means you really need to have a public hearing probably in the middle of December at the
Right.
latest.
mhm.
You know, anytime before the 20th probably
Yep.
is reasonably fair game. Once you get past the 20th, people, their heads go in a different direction. It's holiday time.
Yep.
So mid-December for a public hearing, which means we probably need to have a draft by around the 1st of December in order to get it to an attorney for final review and have it ready, or, you know, the first week of December to have legal fully vet it reasonably before a public hearing in mid-December. Which means, and then you back up from there, when's our public forum gonna happen to facilitate that? That puts our public forum probably in the first half of November.
No, I think so.
Mid-November, maybe?
Is that even possible? I think you need some kind of debrief work session after the public forum to be able to incorporate any changes that we hear from the public. So if it gets too close to that, other than that, we could always have a special meeting to do that.
Right, but you're running into the 4th weekend,
Yeah,
which is Thanksgiving.
then you're into Thanksgiving.
What if we did our, public forum and then the board just stayed after and discussed changes?
Well, if it was on a Saturday, let's say.
That's what I'm
Right.
thinking.
Yeah,
Be a long day.
could be. Yeah,
And the public it's
2 hours for a public hearing?
2 hours for the forum, 2 hours
For a
for,
public forum.
A public forum, I'm sorry.
and then 2 hours for us afterwards. It
Great.
may be more than 2 after, but it would be, hopefully, there wouldn't be that many changes that there'd be a need for a major overhaul.
Sometimes it's difficult to shift gears like that after you've been
Mhm.
doing a public meeting for 2 hours and some people stay and there's, you know,
Okay,
hanging out after the meeting, there's a meeting after the meeting, and by the time you're done with that,
Okay,
you're
That-
mentally exhausted and you're not really ready to go to another
That you
2 hour meeting to,
I mean, maybe there's a lunch break or something for a couple hours.
Yeah.
I mean,
Well, and then that follow on, the debrief, I think would sort of determine what items needed to be, changed and adapted and so forth, and then we turn it over to the working group to wordsmith those changes and then bring it back. What I don't think we want to do is spend a lot of time trying to wordsmith things on the fly. I feel like it's always best to just back up, go sit down in front of the word processor with a couple people and a smaller group. Sort it out and then bring it back.
that still puts our public forum no later than the first half of November.
Oh, yeah,
Absolutely.
yeah.
So, yeah, I'm looking at the
Yeah.
calendar. If you were to do the public forum, November 1st is a Saturday. If you were to have an out of sequence workshop on Wednesday, the 5th, the first Wednesday of the month. To workshop it, and that way, to your point, you have a couple days to marinate on it.
Yeah.
Come back to the,
Yeah.
to the table. And then that would give you time to get it. That's after your first public forum. And then get it to legal, and then hold public hearing in December.
What about the following?
The second,
What about the
Second.
8th?
yeah,
The
the
8th of
second,
November.
yeah,
November 8th, and then the 12th would be the Wednesday,
right,
if you wanted to do that.
because we're still probably gonna have.
that's our normal meeting anyhow.
We're
Yeah.
probably gonna have a Larrabee that month too. Even though it'll probably be the day before Thanksgiving, maybe?
Yeah, I thought we had, talked about the day before Thanksgiving and the day before Christmas or Christmas Eve,
Right,
moving those to the
Back.
previous week.
okay, we could do that.
What
Yeah.
did we
We
decide?
did that
Do you
last
remember?
year,
That's what we're talking about.
yeah. That's what we did last year.
So the 8th for a public forum?
That's, I think, a good
That's a
goal,
marker.
which means then that we have to start advertising that public hearing or public forum.
In late October,
I ideally 3 weeks ahead.
right,
Mhm.
And then the 12th, which is our regular meeting, would be the chance to do a rewrite.
Or the 1st, we could start, that special work session that we scheduled, we could really put an outreach plan together and finalize the
Right.
details for that public forum and while we're diving into
Right.
the other
Yeah.
content.
and spend the entire 2 to 2.5 hours on that
Yeah.
and getting us rolling.
I think we have some time too. We can draft up an outreach.
Yeah, where do we
Yeah.
wanna have it? What do we wanna
Right.
do? What's our kind of run of show? How do we wanna structure this to get the best public feedback that
Mhm.
we can get? How do we
I mean-
maximize our time with the people who come?
Yeah. I mean, the where is either community building or here, cause
It's not gonna be Whitney Hall.
I don't hold out a whole lot of hope for Whitney Hall being anywhere
Not
near
with those
usable.
acoustics. No, that was rough.
And, I almost think that this would be the best place, given the acoustics at the community building.
You just can't fit that many people in here.
Yeah, if you had breakout sessions, you can go out here.
Yeah, you can, yeah.
I mean, based on master plan turnout, I think we were able to fit everybody in this room.
Yeah.
It might have been a little bit tight. And we took out
Move up the
that
table.
table,
Right,
did a little rearranging.
Yeah.
But I think it's doable in here if we have to.
yeah,
I didn't think the community building was that bad for our
No.
first forum.
It was reasonably okay.
Yeah,
yeah, because most of the work was done around the tables. You're okay when you're around the
yeah,
table.
when you're around the table, if we structure it in a way where you are meeting in small groups or breakout groups or something like that, when you were sitting in the breakout group, it was okay.
Yeah,
Well, how about the presentations we made? Were those, could you hear those well and? Yeah,
No,
no,
Yeah, I don't know, that might have been the more challenging.
Yeah.
yeah.
because I mean, we're gonna have to walk through the ordinance, the proposed ordinance,
Mhm.
chapter and verse, and that's gonna take some time.
Or at least hit the highlights in a detailed way.
Yeah.
you know.
And, you know, once we start publicizing it, if we have a draft version, we could put it up on the website.
We can also see, I'll go back to the team and look at the hours and such too. Cause sometimes in other towns we find too is like drop-in hours. Like if we just had like advertised it and said, hey, if you wanna drop in and ask questions, it's been posted online.
Right.
You know, we're getting this word out there and have like an hour or two, or
Right,
hour and a
like
half, or people
big
can come here and drop in,
presentations.
or community
Mhm.
and building, and then like one of our staff members and maybe one planning board member or something like that, if want to be there.
That's a
for
good
drop-in
idea.
hours.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I think another thing that's gonna happen is that, certain sections of the ordinance are gonna they're gonna end up on the, listserv.
Right.
Comment place, and,
Yeah.
I think we need to be prepared to, address those comments as they come in. We need to have an official response to those, in my opinion, and not just let them go.
It's a tough one.
I don't wanna get into a you know what contest, begins with P, with some of the people on the listserv, because whatever you say, they're gonna come up with a counter, and it just goes on and on and on.
I think could.
But I do agree that there should be some formal board account, maybe, and a few people on the board be charged with
One person.
one
Right
person. Rob? I guess we
Got
just.
to how to deal with difficult people.
Okay.
You gotta be really careful with that sort of thing.
Right.
It's, that is not the place for planning boards to make
No,
statements and.
no,
Yeah,
It's not
I think
really
if
an
you-
official.
Yeah,
You
we
just-
have
the
this.
response is
as a
we're
public
having a forum, bring it to the forum.
Mhm.
Yeah.
It is, it can be challenging.
Yeah.
And,
The response is we're having a forum, bring it to the forum.
right.
Or the drop-in
Exactly.
hours.
Or
I
the
think
drop-in
that's
hour.
where
That
it can
really,
get-
that really is
Yeah,
the response.
Mhm.
You
Yeah.
don't wanna
That's
get
exactly-
into some kind of debate, or any
Right.
member of this board get into some sort of debate with somebody. Bring your concerns to the
Right.
public forum,
Right.
it's gonna be on this date,
Yeah.
share your
Mhm.
thoughts, share your, that. It's,
Good.
email listserv is what it is. It's a great tool in some ways, but it can get kind of, it
Yeah.
can spiral into different directions.
well, it goes in a direction it didn't start.
Monitor it and address those issues at the event,
Right,
yeah,
but that isn't the place to address. them.
Shirley's got a comment.
I
Surely.
was gonna say, there's less than 400 people on there in the town. So
Right.
you're really not giving the whole public a chance.
Well, that's
Yeah.
the portion of, I mean, and those 400 people, do they represent registered voters? I don't know, probably a lot of them are. I just
Yeah, the
see it
list
happen,
service,
they get,
list service 400 people, but it's actually only 12 people that comment 90% of the time.
that is true.
okay.
So that's our
Rob-
timeline, right?
Rob,
That's our
I'm
timeline.
wondering if you can extract or coalesce what we have decided, dates and times, and circulate it to us.
Kristen's all over it.
Poor Kristen, yeah.
I think I've got it written down
You
too,
got it.
so I can.
Yeah.
Okay,
I can
Renee's
send
got it too.
so
Yeah.
circulate it to the rest of us
Yeah.
ASAP.
Yeah.
One of the things that I guess you folks talked about on the August 13th, when I was not here,
Mhm.
was the conditional use permit, the
Yeah.
very elusive, conditional use that Bill and I tried to make some sense out of and couldn't. And this, I think it was today, maybe it was
Mhm.
yesterday, Renee
Yeah.
sent around 4 documents, basically. And did everybody get those, or was it
Yeah.
just?
No, we got them.
Oh, I think there was it was only a few of.
Oh,
you,
I think,
but, yeah,
Tim,
so we'll wanna
Right.
send it to everyone.
Send
but
it.
I
didn't get
yeah, send it to everyone.
Okay, so maybe you could,
We can summarize.
give a
and-
summary, and we can have a short discussion,
Yeah,
because it's getting late.
it's getting late.
Well, here's
Yeah.
maybe a step above that is to, I took the section out of the City of Lebanon zoning ordinance that
I
dealt with
saw-
conditional use permits.
Yep.
Assuming that they've gone through the legal process of, the wording is
Mhm,
vetted.
mhm.
And I think it seems to fit our needs, but, if you guys could look at that.
Yep.
And wordsmith it.
Yeah.
Maybe
Yeah.
maybe that we could have the actual draft wording done.
In it,
I
yeah, I mean, I think. the
Yeah, I
biggest-
think that's a good idea, but I think it might be helpful if Renee summarized the documents that she sent today, because there were pros and cons.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think it's
Sure.
important that
One of them
we
said
be
watch
aware.
out.
Right.
Yes,
It's not as easy as you think.
Right. So, I guess to summarize briefly, the conditional use permits, is an innovative control, that can be, it's authorized by the RSA 674/21, so that's where it comes from. And conditional use permits can be, are similar to special exceptions, which you have right now. And they can be used to accomplish the same results. The difference is that special exceptions go to ZBA and they are appealable to
Right.
ZBA. Conditional use permits may be issued by any municipal board. So typically we see it in planning board, which has been given under the zoning ordinance. So that would have to be written in as to who's authorized to do the conditional use permits in that draft. And then, if that for some reason is appealed, it's automatically to Superior Court.
Right.
So that's one of the kind of the cautions or difference than a special exception that was noted. It's just kind of the procedures, how it goes through. The other thing is that, the provisions for a conditional use permit, must include the necessary specifics that involve the application procedure and the grant or denial. So you have to lay out there, because this is a case law, Fisher versus Viola, 2001. That it has to be kind of laid out there and what needs to be accomplished, which the Lebanon one does, and kind of hits all those points, as Tim mentioned. That's already kind of been legally vetted and has like a pathway. It's just, is that the pathway that Enfield wants to follow suit? Is there other, more stricter or different things it wants to look at? But basically, because if it doesn't have that and doesn't have the due process, if, general persons, if they have to guess at its meaning and applicability, then it's unconstitutional. So it has to be just very well defined. That's really one of the big cautions, which again, special exceptions are the same way. They have to have their outlines. What else would?
When you had trouble,
Yeah.
I read through all that stuff.
Mhm.
Here's a question. None of that material really define what innovative land use controls
Mhm.
were. And
Yeah.
it almost sounded like you gotta have innovative land use controls to have a conceptual permit process. But what qualifies as an innovative land use control?
So there's New Hampshire has a huge handbook, as I'm sure Nate can maybe attest to. It's like 500 pages long, 10 or 12 chapters, if I'm remembering, on all the different innovative land use controls. Cluster subdivisions I think clusters are on there. Conservation subdivisions is an innovative land use control, ILUC. So it's basically like, so conservation subdivision may be a good example. If you don't allow them, but you allow them by a conditional use permit, and you say, in this area, we really want to see it. We want to see them more, we don't need the green space necessarily for some reason, but anyways, but we'll allow conservation subdivision and we'll allow the density to increase because of X, Y, and Z if you hit these parameters. And so you could use that way, and that's an innovative land use control, this conservation subdivision. Other ones are dark sky, for example. I mean, I guess if you were giving a conditional use permit, maybe in relief for some dark sky, right? Like you have a dark sky ordinance and the conditional use permit is like, we're going to give you relief, but you still have to meet these things. I think of other ones. New London has a conditional use permit for ADUs, housing. Oftentimes,
Does it have to be related to housing?
so it doesn't. So part of the thing that a lot of times why you see it in planning board is because it ties together with site plan reviews. And so if they're seeking some kind of relief on the current zoning in the district for the site plan, and you say, okay, we'll give this relief if you hit these other, hit these markers and their conditional use, then it helps kind of streamline the process for the developers to come at it at one strike. And so they can send out one notice, one application, plus the conditional use permit application at the same time and get the relief that they're looking for. So you're coming on that, it does touch on commercial.
So we could find ourselves in a situation where maybe this topic is a little more complicated than we have time to deal with this fall. Maybe we have the section and all it says is reserved, and we'll deal with it next year. So,
Or you just leave the special exceptions,
Right.
Yeah,
and the land and the zoning board adjudicates those
Right.
according to special exception criteria.
Yeah.
which we're all used to.
Which,
Right.
yeah,
yeah,
Very simple.
is not a. I think there's enough happening with the changes that are gonna be proposed in, the downtown area, that maybe we're biting off a little more than we can
Right.
chew by simultaneously introducing an entire new way of adjudicating use
Yeah.
cases.
Because we don't want to lose those 5 votes of the zoning board members who say you're taking power away from us.
It may be, it may be a discussion for another year.
future.
Yeah.
Probably is where
Yeah.
we're headed.
I mean, it's a good thing. My takeaway from what Renee sent us, I think it was an NHMA article. Your zoning tells you what you can do and what you can't do. And your conditional use covers everything in between and allows you to put certain guardrails and controls on them, and having it all on the planning board just makes it easier for everybody. So you don't have, the applicant doesn't have to go to 2 different boards. And the decisions come from a single board that probably has a better idea of the big picture than just a zoning board.
Well,
And we
So-
can gather, I made a note too, that we can gather some more of other towns that have them and how they've, like that NHMA article one does kind of list off, but it's not exhaustive. The, might be used appropriately in connection with construction or filling in wetlands, wetland buffers, the location of telecommunications, the development of PUDs or cluster, as mentioned, and like commercial signs in specific zones. So there are definitely others out there and we can kind of pull a couple more. I know I gave the Francistown one, but we can certainly look for some others too, just for reference for maybe next year.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's,
Talking,
It's a
talking
lot.
like a citizen here for a moment.
It's a lot.
The other problem with the cup is if you go to appeal, it gets real expensive.
Yes.
Cause now you can't appeal, if I appeal to the zoning board, our decision, it doesn't cost me any money.
mhm.
If it goes to Superior Court, I gotta have a lawyer to appeal something. When basically, there's very little difference between that and a special exception. Just a different group doing it. I think, you know,
And I,
There are reasons why a conditional use permit system might make sense. I just think it's a discussion not for
down
this
the
year.
road, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
Can conditional use and special exception exist simultaneously?
yes.
yes,
I'm
oh
gonna
yeah,
put a lot of
because
weight
if they
on,
don't get a conditional use, they can go get a special exception from the zoning board,
Yeah, so,
but at
Well,
least try to.
It has to designate in the zoning ordinance which things fall under CUP and which things fall under special exception. So you can't have the same thing be either or. So like telecommunications, for example, if you want to
Right.
give relief for that in a zone somewhere,
What I'm saying is, if
You
I
have
don't
to
want to
say.
put in for a conditional use,
Right.
then I can go to the zoning board for a special exception. I say,
that's not
I'm
what,
not, I'm
that's
not
not
looking for a
what,
conditional use.
that's not what Renee is saying.
Right.
She's saying for certain things, we would
you would
define
have to
as
define
special exception.
which
For
one-
other
which one's
things,
going
we would
Okay.
define CUP,
Okay,
and the applicant doesn't get a choice.
okay,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's already.
I think we stay with the North Star of
right,
that blue polygon.
right, exactly.
And I think the goal is to, like, you are in the rewrite, you are trying to give relief and
Right.
trying to,
Yeah.
utilize it the best way, basically what a CUP could do in those three zones. So, is there a need for it in those three zones? Probably not,
Probably
once the rewrite is
Right.
Mhm.
done. So
I think Nate makes a weighty
Yeah.
argument.
Right.
let's see what happens.
Well,
It's
the
a
other thing
hefty
is the
one.
rewrite is making more things possible, not less things possible.
Yeah.
So there might be less need for conditional use because you've already made it by right.
What else do we want to dive into at 8:35?
8:35.
I'd like to dive into tucking my kids into bed, so
Yeah.
I would be happy to make a
Make a motion.
motion to adjourn.
And I don't have no problem seconding that.
Motions to adjourn are not debatable. So,
That was Nate making. it,
motion has
Kylie
been
seconded.
made.
Could I just take a,
No, we're gonna end it. Go ahead,
Go ahead.
okay,
quickly,
all right, so
30 seconds.
what Rob sent around to you today was, a draft of the full, complete new zoning ordinance.
Right,
Probably 75% of it is nothing more than cut and pasting
Right.
the old ordinance and putting it in a new format and in a new sections.
It was unopenable for me. I could not open it. It was, they were like the file was corrupted or something.
The second one I could open, the first one I could not.
Okay, we'll send you the new version.
well,
That you can-
yeah, can we get a printed
The
version?
building permit thing opened just fine.
Right.
The zoning ordinance thing would not open. at
When
all.
I opened the zoning ordinance, it said 160 pages, and I said, I'm not gonna print this sucker.
It wouldn't open for me.
Yeah.
It didn't have the thing in it to allow.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Oh,
I
okay,
experienced the same thing and I had to go back and recreate the PDF, so
Yeah.
I got it, I can tell
Okay.
it again. Yep.
okay, yeah.
Well,
send
you
it
can
again.
send them the Word version.
Yeah, it was a Word version and it just kept processing.
Well, anyway,
processing.
PDF for me,
Anyway,
Right.
so what we really need to do, and I know this is gonna take some time on your all's part, but sit down best you can with the old ordinance and the new one and see where those sections have been moved to. I'd like to go through that chapter and verse at our work session, but before then, if you could just review that stuff. And, you know, see what I've done with it. And then there's some sections in there that are, it's clearly labeled what the colors for, the fonts that are green or words we came up with that are new. The blue is the old ordinance and the black is stuff we pulled out of the City of Lebanon ordinance. Anyway, you'll see where the sections are that we'll need to debate. And there you go. That's my introduction.
Okay, so we're voting on Nate's motion to adjourn. Eric,
Aye.
Dan,
I,
Tim,
All right.
Nate,
Aye.
Bill,
Hi.
I vote aye.
Eric, one thing,
We're adjourned at 8:38.
Mascoma Soccer won 7-0. I saw your son play.
I received a text. He even scored 2 goals, so we're very excited for him.
Okay.
That's good.
Thank you.